in our household as well. We've been doing that.
Yeah, has that been a so? Hey everyone, Dr. Kennard with Tobin Templeman here. We're talking about Meatless Mondays over at the Templeman household. So, how long have you been doing that for, dude?
I think it's I'm gonna guesstimate like 3 months.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Has it been a smooth transition?
You know, I don't think it really, we really skipped a beat, like
Yeah.
just have like bean burritos and
Yeah,
things of that nature, rice.
yeah. I do like a good bean burrito.
Yeah,
Definitely. Knock. Look at you, Rage.
Nakasuche.
What are you up to, Mister? I'm on my second bowl, way past the second bowl.
Yeah. I've been up for like 3 hours now, doing the work, editing a video, but taking a break. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, yeah. You've been active. I've seen you do things on YouTube lately.
Yeah, I'm winding it down though. I'm gonna be taking like a probably at least a 2 week break from it altogether, and then I'm gonna be making most of
Right.
season 3. So
Great. Are you saying, because I'm willing to put money on this right now, brother, you're saying that you're not gonna stream at all or do anything on YouTube for 2 weeks?
oh yeah, I'm not even gonna be logged into the Raging Atheist for at least 2 weeks. I'm gonna log into my other YouTube account. I've been planning this for a while. I'm done with season 2, and I've already pretty much stopped streaming. I've done a couple streams,
Oh, yeah.
but I've been like doing edited videos, winding down season 2, and I've been, I was going to take this. I've been planning to take a break, talking to my therapist and just kind of stepping away from this for a while and making most of season 3 before I even start releasing it. So if you're on my Patreon, you'll see the videos as they're being made, but it could probably be 3-4 months before I'm actually putting stuff on the channel again. Although I am going to have an in between. I'm going to go back. I'm making it a point to show all the times I confronted bigotry in the last 4 years, because that's an issue for me now. Because and just to warn everybody that if I need to be over there, I need to make sure I have your shit on, because if my trolls show up, I'm going to just leave. I'm not going to do that to you, Andy.
Well,
but I do have a
just
legion of trolls coming after me right now.
I have, you know me. Everyone knows the basic policies. I'm not afraid to ban people.
Yeah.
It's not, I am not after maybe the traditional YouTube atheist demographic.
Yeah, they're coming. They don't like that I call out bigotry, and they're saying that I attack their free speech, and they don't understand what free speech is, and it drives me fucking insane.
Yeah, well, this goes back to the, from a variety, and here it is, right? There's more conservatives on YouTube than there are liberals, because conservatism is basically a rearguard action against, against the 21st century, against modernism, right? There is in effect, Big Zebra's here too.
Awesome.
I've been popping off about conservatism in my own head for the last couple of hours because I was listening to a podcast, and yeah. So what's up, bigzebra.com?
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to advocate for the use of scuba gear for cows so they can eat all that seaweed.
Yeah, what was really surprising about this is that cows burp more methane than they fart. I would have thought that there would be more farting of the methane than the burping, but it turns out cows, when they do release methane, it's from the mouth, it's from the burping.
And it would be awesome if they could hang with that kind of diet, eating more of the seaweed, because that means less feeding them corn, which is taking a bunch of water.
Yep.
Well, why are you saying methane and not carbon? Like I listen to all these right-wing radios, and they're talking about carbon and how we need carbon dioxide to live. Like, what are you liberals talking about?
Oh yes, that's right.
That's all I've heard for like 2 weeks is carbon dioxide, and I'm just like, oh, people believe this.
They believe it because it turns out that mean and stupid gets you clicks.
True that, man.
Mean and stupid. I mean, that pretty much is the entire social media environment. Basically, mean and stupid gets you clicks.
What's up, Sammy?
What's up, Sam?
What's up, Sammy?
Hey,
So now I'm intrigued about the bigoted YouTubers that you're talking about because I live in my own bubble here, so I don't really know. Besides the
Yeah. Well, so if I say free speech advocate, what is your as a fellow progressive? What is your immediate thought?
free speech advocate is someone who's a Trojan horse for fascists. That's what
Exactly. All right.
Dave Rubin.
Thank you.
Fuck
Yeah,
that
we're
guy.
on the same page. All right. So,
Yeah.
I called out a quote unquote racist joke by a notorious internet troll. I've dealt with the guy before. I've dealt with his bigotries before. I knew what I was getting into when I did it. I knew perfectly well what was going to ensue. That he would bring his legion of Discord trolls and come at me about free speech, and he's taken up, the sides of people that like to be bigoted. And that I'm attacking their free speech. So that's pretty much essentially what it's coming down to. And he's trying to say because I used a Immortal Technique instrumental in one of my songs, I'm stealing from a black man. He doesn't understand how YouTube works. So I literally have to show like the notification where the dude gets monetized for my video. But it's just this funny thing that I've noticed amongst these free speech advocates, and I've seen it really focused around the Beloved book that's come out by Toni Morrison. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yeah.
And these conservative, supposedly anti-woke, anti-cancel culture people are calling for the cancellation of Toni Morrison's book. I put something on Facebook about it because they don't like the hard truth about antebellum slavery. And that's essentially what this all comes down to is they're trying to portray the people that stand against bigotry as the enemies of free speech when they don't even understand what free speech is. I personally cannot infringe your free speech. It's impossible because I don't work for the government.
There's the same people who are complaining about that don't know the difference between the Second Amendment and the Second Commandment.
And they don't want to recognize your free speech. Like me standing against you utilizing your free speech in a bigoted way. Me standing against that is, guess what? Me utilizing my free speech.
Yeah,
they don't like to recognize that part of it,
Telling you you're full of shit. That's the only thing I'm doing.
Yeah. So, but if they do show up, they are a ruthless. I mean, I'm talking legion of trolls. So I don't want to do that to your channel. They're like following me around and harassing me and shit.
There's been flying monkeys around on YouTube and the internet since it started.
Like I said, I knew what I was getting. I'd done this before with this guy, so I knew what I was getting into. But I also knew I was taking a break, so they'll just be trolling nobody for about 3 months.
Maybe what we need is a set of Flying Monkey Brigade T-shirts and uniforms, and then just send them to the people who are participating in this manner.
It's so funny. Scam likely. Gotta love those calls.
So somehow I feel like calling the trolls flying monkeys is an insult to flying monkeys. I'm not sure.
I kind of like a good troll every once in a while, but I also want to know where you stand. And a lot of these people, and I noticed it with like a lot of atheists, especially if they're trying to like infiltrate the kind of lefty hemisphere and getting good with, bigger YouTube channels that's going to promote their channels. They won't come out and just show that they're opposite or that they stand in opposition of you. They'll make little snide comments. And it'll often be like in reference to free speech or, should Dave Chappelle be able to, they'll bring up Dave Chappelle now. Like Dave Chappelle, Aaron Rodgers is another champion of the right all of a sudden. It's kind of
Aaron
crazy.
Rodgers, that guy who had,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if you're part of the idiot fascist right that don't know any better, right? They just eat up Fox News and they rub Fox News all over the genitals, right? I mean, that's one thing. But if you call yourself an atheist, if you call yourself a skeptic, and you're defending Aaron Rodgers, who says he is immunized by homeopathy, oh my fucking God!
And like he's coming out as woke culture is gonna try to cancel me and conservatives are going to try to make me a god, and I don't like either one of them. Like, bullshit. Like, you know what you're doing. This is all a PR campaign on your part. You know, like they all. It's all political at this point.
Too, is that he's being led around by his dick too, because his girlfriend's a big homeopathy person, and you got to wonder whether or not Rogers would have been so much into the anti-vaccine if it wasn't for his significant other. So
it's the state of the world that we live in. I think it's like this repercussion, because you said it, like there's more conservatives on YouTube than lefties, and especially here in the atheist thing, because it started off very conservative, very alt-right.
It has.
And then we've had this kind of lefty response to where lefties became really popular, and now we're having the repercussions of that, because those righties, well, they still want to do their thing. They've still been around. Cerberus X has been around this entire time, but they got to infiltrate those hemispheres and cause trouble, often using philosophy or philosophical argumentation to justify standing up for bigots, or telling me that I'm wrong for standing up for bigots. Like, this is the new thing. You're wrong if you stand up against a bigot. You know,
these are the same people who think Joe Rogan has a MD and Jordan Peterson speaks something besides word fucking salad. You know, when they're talking about these middle schoolers who are like in their mom's basement, you know, thinking that they're spouting philosophy when they're just like, you know, it's sad and comical at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, like, free speech, you know, hate, like, this is a misconception about free speech, is that hate speech isn't protected by free speech. It is. There's constitutional law behind it. But hate speech is only protected from the government. The government can't. This is why the government don't go out and round up a bunch of white supremacists just for talking white supremacy. They have to actually break the law first, right? Me standing against you in opposition and saying, fuck you, you're a bigot, that's not taking away your free speech. That's exercising free speech. Like, people don't understand the difference there.
Yeah, we have slander and libel principles that come into effect. You know, you can't just be spouting anything, but I've never heard
other
anybody
laws that
getting
take
sued.
care of that. Yeah.
I've never heard anybody getting sued for like that. No.
And I think that the bar for people getting sued and getting, you know, convictions on libel and slander, it's a difficult standard to meet.
Oh yeah, I looked into that when, you know, they were saying the crap about my kid and, you know, all that nasty stuff. I actually pursued prosecuting a libel case, and it's nearly impossible, especially when you're talking about crossing state lines.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to prove libel.
Yeah. Isn't there a notion of malice too? You have to be aware that the information is false, and then you have to prove the state of mind of the person you're accusing, which is difficult. It's easier in Canada and the United Kingdom, which is why Johnny Depp's lawsuit, which failed, went through, even went to court in the first place in the UK.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was wondering, when the National Enquirer would say these terrible things about U.S. celebrities, why they just didn't sue them in Canada, because it's published here as well.
There is a prominent atheist whose name will not be spoken, who had to go to a particular jurisdiction to do these slap lawsuits. We talked about it off.
Oh yeah, I know who.
Yeah, that guy. So of course, even in that jurisdiction, they didn't do very well. You know, here in the States, basically, you have a lot of protection for free speech because of the Constitution. In other countries, Canada, Commonwealth countries, it isn't the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's, you know, a very noble notion, because it's designed to protect the populace and allow them to criticize their government. Yeah. That's why it's there, so we have the ability to criticize our government. Now it's become the rallying cry of bigots, and it's hard to get past that, because, you know, people want the hot words. They don't want the nuanced explanation that comes along with it. You know.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know civics anymore. I should put it that way.
Yeah, dude.
The Australian contingent of our panel is being very silent today.
Is it because of the time change, Samby?
It's pretty late.
Because I'm all hopped up on coffee and overtaking the stream.
No. It's 1:45, and I've had several bowls.
Oh, several. The bowl running over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the chat's keeping me occupied.
Okay. And the thing is too, I've been like doing this whole, on the free speech, talking about free speech, what is free speech, and hate speech too, for since I started the blog, and ran into issues with the Amazing Atheist back in the day, and about the atheists that shall not be mentioned also. So yeah.
Andy,
I'm passionate about that.
I've said terrible things about horses over.
Let's have Sammy say something first. Big Zero.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. I'm just interested because I've always had trouble. I know what I think it is, but I don't know how to put it in words as such. How to define hate speech. So I was wondering how you will individually define it.
You want to take that one, Rage? As I look at the official.
To me, hate speech is anything that leads to violence against a minority subset. So, it could be anywhere from the N-word, which could lead to. I mean, if you look at free speech, especially when it comes to the American Constitution, there's what's considered fighting words is not protected free speech. So if you are saying words that initiate violence, that's not protected free speech, and that's kind of what I would consider hate speech to be is something that's going to lead towards the violence of a minority subset.
Well, that's a good point, Rage, because the Cambridge Dictionary defines hate speech as public speech that expresses hate or encourages violence towards a person or group based on something such as race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. So it really does kind of goad violence towards those groups.
Well,
yeah, I've said the N-word in context of racial conversations, right? But if you're saying it in like the context of just a normal conversation and you're being derogatory against a subset, then to me that's leading to violence.
Sammy?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I was going to ask, so do you think the defining factor is the violence, which I think you both sort of alluded to, but that definition, not that definition is the definition, but
right.
Said or, which I think is interesting.
I can tell you
because
that
that's all right. I was just going to say, does it necessarily have to lead to violence to be hate speech?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Many countries have hate speech legislation. And for example, a guy got deported in Canada for anti-Jewish ramblings about how the Holocaust never happened. And the notion of hate speech can be generalized to speech that's designed to, for lack of a better word, generate hate and foster acrimony. And unfortunately, you end up into a discussion about what is reasonable and what is not. And it's a little bit dangerous to have these laws on the books, but on the pluses and minuses, we seem to be doing okay with them. But not perfect, not by a long shot.
Yeah, I agree. Like, violence to me isn't like a physical act of violence. It could be anything. It could be many things, I should say. It could be like, hoarding a certain group of people into projects, like we did back in the 40s and 50s, or forced migration of Cherokees. Like it could be a lot of things, creating a society that others
pushing your will on other people.
A society that looks down on, say, gay people or trans people. Then to me that would be an act of violence in regards to the law, not the actual probably specific definition of the word.
Well, it isn't just physical violence; it's economic violence. It's using social or trying to create these social norms against.
So maybe harm is a better word.
And hate speech is one thing, but just standing against bigotry, that's the noble thing to do, especially in the world we live in now. We don't live 20 years ago, you know, when hating on trans people was cool, when hating on gay people was cool and everybody did it and you were in the in crowd. If you know, we don't live in that world anymore. Go ask John Gruden. You know, you just can't say these things about people anymore because we have the free speech to call you out. Employers don't have to respect your free speech. That has been ruled on time after time. They have to if they're the government, if your employer is the government. Outside of that, they don't. I mean, they set the rules. If you don't follow them, you don't follow them. You know, so people don't understand what free speech entails.
That make the right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go into my. I had this conversation with Misha Popov, and he was like, "Nobody should get fired for anything." I'm like, "Dude, you can't go into your job saying Hail Hitler, and your boss is a Jew, and be able to work for that boss. You just can't do. That's not. You don't have that protected speech. You just don't. He could fire you
for Hail Himmler."
Himmler. I got some funny Himmler stories, but I can't tell you on camera.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Chicken farmer stories.
And my Facebook is just going crazy. Hopefully that's not coming through because I turned it off and it's still going
there's
crazy.
Nothing coming through there. It's all, yeah.
It's like my work is just like, let's have a conversation right now. I'm like, no, stop it.
Yeah. It's once again, this is just one of those chronic issues with social media and as a country as it is now, right? I mean, once again, we're still in this kind of battle about, you know, taking a step back and looking about where we are as a country. The country is wrestling with whether or not we're going to be basically Arkansas or Norway, where we're in this kind of hyperpolarized state. And this is something that we just talk about all the time because this is the way the country is, and that it is you know, our job on the left is to push it towards more of the 21st century, more towards Star Trek, while the free speech people are once again Trojan horsing the antebellum South.
Yeah, I totally agree. We live in the post-truth era, and unfortunately, man, I'm like just scared about it. You know, like this is I'm not scared about like this YouTube thing, but this is like the longest time that I've surfaced in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, to where these trolls haven't shown up. So everybody in the side chat isn't a snitch. I see all of you. You're not a snitch. I see you. But like every time I surface now, like these trolls are everywhere. Like give it 5 minutes and Cerberus is right there. Take down this song, you racist. The thing that racists do is always try to deflect that upon the person that's calling out their bigotry. I've noticed it every time. I noticed it with Will. I noticed it with John Grishala, with Smokey Saint, now with Cerberus Hex. You call out their bigotry, they've got to make you the bigoted one. Right. Because they're not the bigoted one. You know, I just told a joke, yo, and you just can't take a joke. And like, no, you told a racist ass joke, yo.
That's just basic counterintelligence, KGB tactics, you know. Whataboutism, right? Whenever something was going sideways in the Soviet Union, the invasion of Afghanistan, for example, it would all be about, well, what's the U.S. doing? Blah, 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 blah. Or gulags, right? During the 50s, during the 40s, during the 30s. Well, yeah, we're killing, who knows, maybe 60 million of our own people. No one knows how many people Stalin killed. But it's all about what was going on in the States whenever that was brought up.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is, the only real attacks that we see on free speech is when presidents attack the media, and it happens with every administration, but it happened most specifically, like Trump actually tried to litigate against media reporters that were speaking bad against his government. That's against the First Amendment. You can't do that. That's against free speech, but you will never hear them talk about it.
No, of course not. Yeah. Sad and predictable all at the same time.
Yep. I was nervous about coming in because I don't want to bring the trolls to your channel. It happened. It happened with Speed's stream the other day, and I'm like, man, I wish I wouldn't have shown myself in the side chat there because his channel got
but most bombarded. People aren't up at this time. If you're a troll, they typically live under bridges and are up late at night.
They live in Discord, up until like 6 a.m. So
most of them are running away from the truant officer or still in bed, basically.
Most trolls wouldn't last a minute in the herd.
True that.
Yeah.
Internet goblins. Take a stand already. Just come at me and tell me you're a conservative and you like bigoted speech. I'll respect that a lot more.
Well,
by the way, speaking of trolling,
yeah.
I know it's Schadenfreude and all that, but when some right wing fuckbag dies of COVID, who was an anti-masker and on and on and on, I'm not saying I want to show up at his funeral with a big sign that says "You fuckbag, you're an idiot, and now you're dead." But I am saying, I would contribute towards a billboard that said something to that effect. So everyone on the drive to work could see that right-wing COVID denier was dead and we're better off.
Yeah.
And pardon me?
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I am too. A certain part of me like just gets happy and it's like, you stupid fuck.
Yeah, maybe it's an unworthy impulse, but part of me thinks it's worth exploring. Since we're in a post-truth era, maybe the gloves should come off and someone should say he's dead and we're better off.
Dr. Josh causing trouble.
Hey, it's Dr. Josh. Don't ask me a Darth Dawkins question, Miss Dr. Josh. I can't answer them. I can't.
What's up, Dr. Josh?
I don't understand.
Much love for Dr. Josh's word salad.
I can defend my atheism, but it's getting harder and harder to defend a lot of atheists. I'll put it that way.
Well, I mean,
my Facebook is going crazy. Like, stop
atheism is an exercise of privilege in a lot of ways, right? I mean, I can be an out of the closet atheist because I have a certain amount of money in my pocket, or that I don't care if I have a certain amount of money in my pocket, and I can rely on societal institutions to basically help me out, right? So it's no surprise that there are a significant amount of atheists who are white, upper class. They got good money, they have good jobs, and they don't understand what privilege is, and they are incentivized to think in a certain way, right? That justifies their position.
Yeah, so the video I'm working on right now, surprise, surprise, is a free speech video, and that's how I'm going to end my season, and I'm going to be gone. But like I'll show up here probably every once in a while. Dude.
Money. Yeah, okay, so one thing, it's like I don't know if you're still around, Dr. Josh, but I talked to Jimmy Lou about a bit, and it's a fucking best bit in the fucking world. And if Jimmy Lou hasn't talked to you about it, then you got to talk to him about it because it was the best fucking bit ever that I cooked up. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of bits, what about your secret projects? Can you give us an update there, Dr. Kennard?
I wish I could. Because, like I said, I can tell you that in theory, a check's in the mail coming to me about the secret project. I mean, that's good, right? From my own narcissistic point of view. But yeah, I can't. I'm still, yeah. It's somewhat frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you, but that's what happens when you work on a team. When you're and you're just there in the comedy minds, going, "I'm ready to comedy now," but it's not ready yet. Okay, well, yeah.
Oh, Dr. Kennard, while I have you here, can you tell us what program you use for image processing, like your memes? Because I have need for that stuff, and I lack skills.
I am
only have the moves.
And I'm awfully stupid. So I use on my little iPad here, and it's not even a new iPad. It's called PixArt, and PixArt. It's relatively free. I don't pay anything. Sometimes they sabotage my memes because they want me to pay and they won't let me do anything. So then I just have to start over again. But I use PixArt mostly for the thumbnails that you see. Mm-hmm. And when I made my cat memes, I used PixArt. And like I said, it's very simple, and I get a big bang for my buck out of using that free software. Okay,
PixArt. I have PIXART, but it seemed to take me to a weird technology website.
It's PICSART. PICSART.
Thank you.
Yeah, that should. I mean, like I said, that satisfies my meme-ish needs.
See, didn't that? Do you use that on your mobile?
I use well, it's on my iPad. So yeah, on my phone, I use another program, which actually I did the cat memes just on my phone because
because I use that for my thumbnails, and they did this like update to where now it's like really hard to cut shit out, to where before it was so easy. Like, do you have that same issue?
There have been some issues, but mostly it's been them trying to ask me for money, which I'm not going to give them.
Yeah, I don't either.
Do you make a restore point? You can go back and get it before, like go back before your update. You can make restore points.
Yeah, see, I've tried to do that, but I'm not sure. I'll have to try that. But yeah, like, because I can't cut out stuff now, and I've got some kind of Photoshop through my Premiere, but it's not the one that I need to really cut stuff out. So I was kind of disappointed in that yesterday.
I have also used GIMP. GIMP is the free version of Photoshop. Basically, it's GMP, and I use that on my desktop in the past. It's more complicated.
I'm flipping that.
Yeah, I'm going to try PixArt again because I'm hoping like they, sometimes with a new bug, with a new update, they'll have bugs and they'll fix it, or they'll listen to the response and say, oh, this isn't working like it was before. So hopefully, they fix it because, like I said, I really love that program, but I use it on my phone, not on a. Well, that's I should try it on one of our. Whatever I'm trying to think of right now.
I did the cat memes actually on my phone, and I use Quotes Creator. That's the name of the simple app, Quotes Creator, and I was able to make those the red cat memes. So, so there are free programs to make stuff.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Sweet, thank you.
Find them.
Thank you so much. I want to get my website running. And I can't do it unless I can mess with other people's photos and call them parody and make them a parody.
Yeah. I've done a bunch of comics too, Andy's Follies, and I used a program on my iPad, which once again, even I can use it. And it's called Comic Life.
I like that format. The way you do that whole comic series is awesome. Like I give it 2 thumbs up along with my toes.
Along with your toes. Well, that's high toes and high thumbs. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is gold for me, Andy.
Good. Well, I'm glad to be of help. I don't know a lot about anything, Big Zebra, but what I do know, I'm more than happy to share.
Well, not knowing a lot is where I live, so I appreciate all the tips I can get. You should have seen me shuffling around with Photoshop and everything looking really, really bad.
Well, Photoshop you have to learn. It's like the software GIMP. You have to like literally when I was using GIMP, I had one screen open with a YouTube video on how to use it properly with the application open on my regular desktop, and I was playing around with it. But these free software, the technology's gotten so far that unless you're doing something really funky, then you can get a lot done in terms of just simple meme making. Yeah. There's also, and I don't know how we start, talking about memes, but there's also this great program that I've used to make BBC looking thumbnails. And it's called Mematic, Mematic. And so I've made some funny BBC News looking memes using that.
Thank you. I'm bookmarking that right now.
Yeah.
You see, it's hard to do this work when you're thoroughly incompetent. It just makes it so much more difficult.
Believe me, I've worked through ways of working around my own incompetence, and here I am. Yeah.
I've shared something, Andy, that I thought
what do you got?
Rage might enjoy.
All right, I'm sharing it. Let's. It's supposed to be here now. I don't know.
Let's press play. If I get onto the right.
I'm not sure that everyone who's upset about critical race theory actually knows why they're upset, John.
What's the most important issue in the governor's race here in Virginia?
Getting back to the basics of teaching children, not teaching them critical race theory.
And what is critical race theory?
Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because I don't understand it that much, but it's something that I don't.
Yeah, I love
what
this.
little bit that I know, I don't care for.
And what have you heard that you don't?
Well,
that you
I'm
don't
not.
like?
I'm not gonna. You know, I don't. I don't have that much knowledge on it, but it's something that I don't care for.
Refreshingly honest, I don't really know what.
Oh, I love it so much.
These
Waffling.
guys are brilliant. This is
Waffling.
great show.
What white people are afraid of is that it is that guy is just as afraid as the people carrying tiki torches telling you will not erase us. That is basically the criticism of critical race theory, is the white person fear that they will be treated as badly by brown and black skinned people as we treated them. That's basically
and it's all fake. It's not being taught to children. It really is a law course that you take in graduate school if you're going to law school, right? So like, this is like the really scary thing about the times we live in, is because Virginia was a blue state. I mean, it was more of a purple state than a blue state, but it had trended blue lately. And that fact that if you look at the exit polls, CRT is the reason this governor won, because he dog whistled the entire time. And people don't like hearing that, but that's literally what he did, because he talked about a fake issue. Mikola walked right into it because he's a hack.
The Democrat work his fucking balls out.
Yeah, like he gave it to the guy on a silver platter.
He gave him a hammer and said, "Smack my ball really fucking hard with this critical race theory crap."
And all he had is, it's so easy to debunk. He could have like easily said, it's just atrocious. And this is what we're heading into in 2022 and 2024. And Republicans win the narrative. Democrats lose every single time.
How about this? Ask your kids when they come home from school, what did you learn in school today? And did any of them ever answer critical race theory, Dad? No, they didn't.
I listen to right-wing radio when I'm traveling back and forth to work, or when I'm going to pick up my daughter from school. Now, I turned it off when she's actually in the car because I don't want her to be indoctrinated by it. But they were literally talking about this the other day on one show or another. I don't think it was Hannity. I think it was like later at night, and they were saying that black children were being taught that their white teachers are demons. It was like the weirdest thing that I've ever heard in my life, and but then you think like millions of people are listening and agreeing with it, and it's frightening. It really is frightening.
And I might drop the link actually in the chat, because that clip preceded an excellent interview that of course they laughed at it and said, well, why don't we actually ask an expert? And they got someone who's studied in sociology or whatever that particular field would be. But they've done like years-long studies on it. And he clearly explains that the idea of critical race theory isn't one thing. Yeah. It embraces like a whole number of things. It's not a subject to be taught in schools as such. People don't even understand what it is.
Well, the thing
they're
is,
against.
This is the problem that really smart people make, right? Is that they actually answer the questions from the Republicans, and it's So there are different levels of conversation, right? It is the text and the subtext. So when they're talking about critical race theory, what they're really afraid of is someone going to at school teach my children that white people are evil, right? That's what they're really afraid of. And if I was Terry motherfucking McAuliffe, who was running for governor, I would say that I would fire anyone who teaches your kids that white people are evil. It would be as simple as that. And if anyone asks you about it afterwards, or a follow-up question, you would just say, I don't even know why the fuck you're asking me this, because I already answered. So next question. And you just shut it down. And then you go on to fucking Star Trek and trying to make things happy, fucking shiny, bright rainbows. But
exactly.
You gotta shut that fucking shit down. And Terry is a creature of the DNC, and he is all sack and no fucking balls, that guy. I just fucking disappointed with that.
Yeah, I mean, he was a corporate Democrat that doesn't know. I mean, these corporate Democrats don't understand what we want. Like, even the progressives that we have elected into office don't seem to understand what we want. We didn't elect you to be corrupted by government. We elected you to stand in the face of it, and they let us down. They totally let us down. But when it comes to CRT, like when you talk to these people, they'll often cite instances where teachers voluntarily in their free time go and take courses on CRT to get a better understanding and awareness of everybody that they're going to be teaching, and they don't then go and take that and teach that to the children. That's just something that they are utilizing for their greater knowledge. And it's so easy to dispute, because when you're talking about critical race theory, what you're talking about is just theory looking at history for what it is, not what is said by the oppressor. And that is it, and that is all. And it's really fairly simple when you break it down simply, but then like you can spend hours upon hours talking about it, because I've spent hours upon hours looking at it, because so many right-wing people they're winning elections on this now, on a fake narrative that doesn't exist.
Well, that's how they win, right? If you look at conservatism, and I was thinking about it the other day, is that conservatism is all based on illogical fallacy. It is literally the conservative bias. And hear me out on this, right? There's the idea that I instinctually do not like new ideas because they're new ideas. Right. And I don't know what conservatism in this country is more than that, is that I don't like the fact that things are changing, that we're becoming a minority majority country. So how am I going to react? I'm going to react with creating this monster called critical race theory and attacking it.
Yeah, I mean, they understand fundamentally if they can get to the fear of white people, they still got the numbers.
Oh yeah.
And that's their playbook. There's their playbook moving forward, because they're the ones fighting the culture war. I mean, you know, when you talk about what we've been saying about what they say critical race theory is, and basically, you know, white people are evil. The only people that are ended up saying that are the right-wing talking heads, as they're telling their very, very white millions of people that are in their audience that children are being taught that they are evil. You know, so they're the only ones saying it. Nobody else is. You know,
Lee Atwater was
they perpetuate the fear.
Lee Atwater was a genius evil, and I believe he died from brain cancer, to tell you the truth. And of course, he was a Republican, but saying that he was evil kind of implies that anyway. So, good propagandist, that man.
Yeah,
evil.
I want to move. I can't move until my daughter's 16. I've got 4 years, so the way it's looking is I got 2 years at least of living in the fascist USA, because I don't see the tides. We live in the post-truth era, and truth matters not anymore.
Well, you know, things are not going to get any better within the next, you know, the midterms, more than likely, once again, statistically speaking, more than likely the Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate. There are ways to fight that, of course, but the only time that didn't happen in my history, at least while I've been alive, is when, you know, those two planes fell into those two, you know, skyscrapers during W's campaign. That was the only time that bucked the trend. So we can expect to see a Republican Senate, probably a Republican House too, after the midterms, and then who knows what's going to happen in 2024.
Yeah, and really, if you think about like McCullough, what he said wasn't particularly wrong. You know, like I don't really have much say over the curriculum that my child has. I can go to PTA, and we can, you know, you can politically do some things to remove school board members and put in school board members that might go along with what you want as a parent. But like generally, we don't dictate the curriculum to our children. It's just you don't walk into that and say this very dumb thing that's going to rile up all these parents against you as a politician. You know, you just don't do it.
If you're going to sit in the motherfucking big chair, if you're going to be governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, you got to act like it. You got to be like, I am personally going to be making sure that no one's going to say white people are evil in your school. I'm going to say parents have a role in their children's education,
and I
respect that.
And
But
it's
he
so
didn't do
easy
either
to
one of
just say
those.
CRT isn't a thing, you know.
He didn't do any of those things. Instead, he shot himself in the dick. Like I said, he gave it to the other guy.
And it's almost like they want to, you know, like Pelosi pretending to have the progressive side, you know, during this whole infrastructure bill, and then right at the end, just doing what like all of us progressives knew that she was going to do, is show her muscle and say get in line, and unfortunately, most of the progressives did, but we need to get over this like notion that these people really care. They're part of the oligarchy as well, and until like we realize that and just overtake our party and put in, it's sad for me. Like AOC has been my girl. Like I actually met her once back in No Dapple, and you know she was a true activist, and just in a few short years to see like how much government has been able to. I know government corrupts, power corrupts, and it's how do you fight against it, man? Like how, like even the people we voted to take the stand, they didn't take the stand when it came down to it. They didn't take the stand, and we voted for that, and they didn't do it.
On that note, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut it close because I haven't written my morning bit for the blog. But
I'm reading the Communist Manifesto today.
I have my copy around here somewhere.
Hey, thank you very much for
starting that again today.
Hangout, Dr. Kennard.
Always happy to help where I can, everyone.
Oh.
Always happy to help. We're gonna do the whole crazy thing tomorrow too.
Okie dokie.
And so I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Shamala hamala.
Yeah, have a good day.
Hamala.